Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I'm your host, as always, the Low Runner. Oh, I forgot to put up the thing, didn't I? Oh, where's my list? That's the wrong list. The other list. I have so many lists up. Oh my goodness. Let's put this in here. So we don't actually have much news to talk about. We do have a couple of things to address, though. There we go. There we go. Put this up. What? Wait, do you think I have a... Oh, yes! Hang on. Hang on, my assistant here, she's trying to help me turn off the filter. I'm here, Your Honor. I'm not an anime girl, I swear. Hang on. See if I can... Okay, real talk for a second, though. I actually was going to use a cat, but it turns out you need to spend money for cats. And that didn't particularly seem worthwhile for, you know, a 10-second gag, basically. Actually, real talk again, I've looked into getting a virtual avatar several times. And each time they keep pushing it forwards a little bit more, and it keeps not being something I'm interested in. Like, if they had an actual decent selection, I'd be more interested in actually doing this. As you can see, it works pretty decently. You know, I can kind of control the head a little bit here. Kind of bop to the music a little bit or whatever. And it tracks my eyes pretty well, like as you can kind of see here. But, like... This is the only avatar that was free. Literally the only one. But no, all of the options were cartoon or anime. And that was it. Like, if I could get, oh, I don't know, the Lich King or something for this, yeah, sure. Or like just any Warcraft character, maybe. But no, it's all just nonsense. Whatever. Boop. Now you gotta go here for hand movement. Thank you very much, Blue Alex. As always. Even though it's a repeat. So yeah, it just doesn't come even close to what I want it to be. Like, I don't actually understand why is it all anime and cartoons? Spell Valiant, I swear. Thank you very much, Silver Mask, for that sub. As always, I will put that towards Valiant Hearts. I guess that's true, Dakota. But the long and the short of it is, we're not doing that because no. Show news. I only have one bit of show news. Voot, if you haven't vooted. We haven't had people voot in 3 days now. I keep track of that sort of thing. To see when everyone has vooted. If people have not vooted yet, you know, ignore whatever von Falkenstein just did. That's irrelevant. Has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Floodgates voot. Sorry. It is entirely possible that all of you have voted, in which case I have 125 paying customers. Which I suppose is possible, that's just a little bit less than I sort of would figure it would be, you know? Huh. That's interesting. One moment. Trying to log into Nightbot here, because Nightbot's being weird. Hang on, just a second. Give me a second. I need to remove the voot command for just a moment. To make sure nobody clicks that and says that. And you'll get something. Really quick, what do we have there? We had a donation from Jesse's Mask, which I'll look at in just a second. We have a sub from Wraith. Thank you very much, Wraith. As always, I will put that towards Dishonored. 1, I assume. Sorry, I have to pull this up separate over here. I'll put that towards Psychonauts. And I'll put that towards WoW Shadowlands. Thank you, Jesse's Mask, very, very much. And thank you, the Count, for your sub. As always. Okay, so apparently I have to explain what the vote is. So right now we are voting for the next year's Floodgates. The ruminations that'll be going live, the 27 rumination slots that'll be going live next year. If you are a paying person, if you are someone who has put money towards the show, then you are someone who, recently, by the way, you have to do it recently, you're someone who qualifies in order to get a voot. If you have not voted yet in this particular poll, and you would like a link to it, just message me now, or say something now, and I will message you privately, and we'll get you a link to the voot. If you have voted, don't worry about it. If you need help with voting, then I don't know what to tell you. It's extremely user-friendly, and I don't know what would be going wrong with that. Aggressor. I thought I sent you a link already, Aggressor. But whatever. Let's presume that you're not lying horribly to me, as you always do. And pull this up. Give me just a second. Oh my god, lots of people. Hang on. Yes, this is the movies voot. This is the Floodgates 2022 Ruminations voot. If you do not have Whispers on, you will not get a link. FYI. It's very simple. We actually already discussed it. So, for example, Pika did not get my Whisper, and Aggressor did not get my Whisper. So if you did not get the previous information, to go do it through it really, really quickly, I already did a whole discussion last week on exactly how the system works. The idea is you pick your favorites. You can pick anywhere from 1 to however many there are. You do have to vote for at least one thing. You vote for whatever it is your favorite is, your current favorite pick. If you do not vote strategically. If you vote strategically, you destroy the entire purpose of the voting system. So don't consider something too popular, and don't consider something too esoteric. That's the super summarized version. Just vote for whatever you want, in the order that you want it in. Vote how you like. Yeah, it's just vote how you like. That is how the voot works. I am a little discouraged at how few people, apparently, who are subbers have gotten the Twitch email, but then again, we had that same problem last year, so that's not really super surprising. Well, for example, you cannot vote Ect, because you have not put money towards the show. No, you cannot, Pika. Do you know why, Pika? Because I already explained why. So, to put this into equivalency, if you voting, if you have not put money towards the show, would be the relative equivalent of a inhabitant of France voting on the United States presidential election. You do have to be someone who has put money into the show in order to vote. Thank you for watching my show, Timanash. I'll put that towards Wasteland 3. Are you able to dealer's choice your vote? No, doesn't actually work that way. There are 50 some odd options there, and you do have to pick one. There is no dealer's choice. I mean, technically there is a dealer's choice. The Pixar block is dealer's choice. So if you really wanted to, you could just vote for the Pixar block. But you can't just say dealer's choice right now and consider it done. Where is... someone else wanted a link. Dr. Winter, there we go. You can also pick other stuff. You probably should pick other stuff. Well, you have to actually do it, French philosopher. But I'll give you a link, because you are a subber. So there you go. There's the link. Yeah, you can vote for as many as you want. You do have to put them in order. That's extremely important. The voting system does not work if you don't order them in priority. Like, this is your first pick, this is your second pick, etc. Pika and Aggressor, have either of you opened up your whispers yet? Because I can't whisper you something if you have whispers turned off. Okay, let's see if... Okay, so Aggressor can now be whispered. There we go. So Imperial Star Destroyer says, hit the vote button. And nothing happened. When did you do that, Imperial Star Destroyer? Let me check here. No, take your time, Mr. Red. Don't struggle. Last Loreweek. Oh, well, that's not gonna help. I don't know what it looks like when you vote exactly. Can anyone help Imperial Star Destroyer with this problem? Like, let me ask this. What happens if you go to the page right now? 21, by the way, Shadow Machine. Because if you go to the vote site right now, and it says, you've already voted, then it went through. Ah, hang on. Let me re-grab the link here. It's the previous message there. Well, let's find out, Pika, if we can. Looks like it actually went through. I think it's 21. I forget the exact number. Up is not included because we've already done Up. And I think that's it. I think that's actually the only Pixar film we've covered is Up. So, yeah. Hello, Larian. Okay, well, then try another browser at that point at Imperial Star Destroyer, because I don't know what else to tell you at that point. I've never encountered that issue, I'm sorry. Okay, so Pika got the link. Woo. Don't worry about it, CyberXL. Don't worry about it. Double checking something here. 128 votes. So 3 people have voted in the last few minutes here. I've been keeping track of this to keep track of when all the votes come in, because obviously I want as much as I can, but generally speaking, if I feel like we've gotten basically everyone by the time we finish Divinity Original Sin 2, I'm probably going to go ahead and chop it off there. And, you know, start the Floodgates cycle, which I'm not looking forward to at all. But as a fresh reminder, for those of you who haven't been here for our Floodgates cycles, there will be no streams during the Floodgates cycles. None. I don't stream during that. It's for various reasons, mostly mental and also for workflow related. I don't like to shift gears and shift setup. So I just record like 12 hours a day, and then that's it. When is the Floodgate cycle? When everyone has voted, or when DOS 2 has finished, or both. Very soon, in other words, probably about a week from now. Either way, yeah, so that, just to be very clear about this, because every year someone asks about this, that means no lore weeks, that means no streaminations, that means no Star Trek rewrite streams, and that means no regular game streams. Nothing. No streams. Until we're done. And of course, the most obvious next question, which I tend to get, is, well, how long does a Floodgate cycle last? Oh, as usual, I cannot predict how long it will take, because that's not how that works. I don't sit down and think it will take exactly 17 minutes and 32 seconds in order to finish this. I record until I'm done. Now, I will tell you what I am recording. Season 3 and 4 of Enterprise, all of Star Trek TAS, and whatever movies you all select. So 27 movies. And that is the list. TSB, I'm afraid you will not be getting a vote. I do apologize, but as you are not a financial supporter of the show, you don't get a vote. Sorry. So no is the answer to your question. What the heck is objectivism? Jesse's mask. Correct, Mike Romano. If the Pixar block gets in, it's getting in, by the way, then that means there will... hang on, let me double check, Larian. No, not at the moment. Ayn Rand's view of the world. So, insanity? Sorry. I actually don't know what you're referencing, so I have no idea if I'd talk about that or not. But I can actually tell you who's winning right now, because it tabulates it on the fly. I'm not going to tell you what the winners are, because I don't want to affect anyone's votes. But that's not what I would presume. No, Lord Harriman. This is something I've been pushing for about a year. Obviously, you haven't been keeping up with that, so that's totally cool. But the idea... Can I tell you what's definitely getting in? No, again, I don't want to affect people's votes. Other than the Pixar block, which is totally getting in. That is mega getting in. That wins by a freaking landslide. It's guaranteed at this point. So at this point, the only thing that is questioning is the other 6 movies that'll be coming in. 6 or 7, I forget. I have it figured out. So please feel free to continue voting for the Pixar block. I should have vetoed that one. That's gonna suck. Oh well. That's gonna be interesting. So, 4, 5, 6. So those ones, so it looks like that's the line right there. Hello, Javan. Sorry, someone asked a question. Oh, it went through good, Imperial Star. Did the browser help? For future reference, so I know to tell future people if anybody has a similar issue. Fringe Philosopher asks a not stupid question. Will there be YouTube content? So, I know you probably don't know this about me, Fringe Philosopher. I record stuff well in advance. This is why I am going to be recording sometime in the next week. Within the next week. By the end of the next week. All the videos that are going live next year. All of the Star Trek TOS videos have already been recorded and are uploaded. What I like to call done in my own terminology. So, as I like to say, if I died right now on camera, you would continue to get YouTube content for over a year. I will not answer that question, Pika, but that's okay. Again, I shouldn't give away information. I probably shouldn't have mentioned the Pixar thing. Yep, it would be my most popular stream ever. Most likely. But yeah, because I record stuff so far in advance, YouTube stuff goes live regardless. That's how that works. Now, if you mean new YouTube stuff, like, say, new game ruminations or the animation videos and stuff like that, in that case, no. That is true, Takota, and I'm 100% unapologetic about that because I've been pushing the Pixar block for the better part of 2 years now. But especially ever since I covered Up, I have very much been wanting to cover the Pixar thing, so that is my choice. And I should probably mention that every time we do one of these, dealer's choice always wins by a landslide, so it's not surprising that it wins by a landslide once again. The real thing is the next 6. This is another reason why you should pick more than one thing, by the way. Correct, Finge Philosopher. No nothing, except for the YouTube content. I think it's 6 or 7. Again, I have it all already mathed out in my calendar, which is right over there. I mean, I've considered doing that, Dakota, but that's neither here nor there. Point being, let's double check things. Okay, point being that that's up. Everyone go. Lots of stuff. Moving on. Leave that up in case I need to whisper anyone the new Voots. What is the list of movies in the Pixar block? Yeah, give me a second, though. Hang on. You're gonna have to give me like a minute, actually, to find the list. It's everything except for Up, but give me a second. The list of movies in the Pixar block will include, in order, Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, Brave, Monsters University, Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory, Cars 3, Coco, The Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4. Did I mention The Incredibles? Oh yeah, it's right, 3 for Cars. Toy Story 4, Onward, and Soul. So yes, there will be 6 additional slots. Most likely release order, Shadow Machine, although of course I haven't decided yet, but that is most likely where we're at. So I don't actually... I'm going to stop pretenses here and stop humor for a second. What's your problem, Dakota? Like, you have voted for things. You all have voted for movies and have selected movies and put in movies. Just because I have a preference for one particular thing or several particular things and am open about that doesn't change the fact that you all have asked me to watch several movies that I never would have even touched if not otherwise. So you're implying that your votes don't matter, and you're demonstrably wrong. So what's the issue here? Like, let's just look at this year's stuff. So we've got Ruby Volume 1, which I would have never watched. Fight Club, which I don't give a flying damn about because I'm not into it. The Prestige, Dread, Kingsman. Scroll down a little bit here. Rocky, which I never would have picked, believe it or not. Apocalypse Now, which I can't stand. The Transformers the movie. RoboCop, although that was actually a fascinating one to talk about. TMNT. Oh, I can't stand Fight Club. No, thank you. Like... Anyways, I'll wait for Dakota to get back to my bed. But in the meantime, what's my next tidbit? Is that it? So yeah, just random news at this point. Not a lot of news happened this week. Again. No, don't misunderstand, Blue Wolf Alex. It was actually a good film, but I never would have picked it to do a rumination on it. You started your internship. Congrats. The number of slots in the whole voting thing ends up a waste of everyone's time. I really legitimately don't know what you're on about at this point, Dakota. Like... So I'm just going to drop it. Just going to let it go. Outer Worlds. Why wouldn't I... Now Blue Alex is on me. Alright, so why wouldn't I have done a rumination on TMNT? TMNT is one of those films that sits in that block mentally as movies that I feel like haven't aged particularly well in my memory. And so I was looking back at it and I was like, okay, well, there's probably nothing to really discuss or analyze there worthwhile. Now, I was wrong. It is worthy of note. I don't remember how long the particular TMNT video was, but there were some interesting things to discuss there. It's just, that was one of those, it sits over in a corner in my memory kind of films. Does that make sense? Along with quite a few other films. Like I said, RoboCop is probably not one I would have gone through with an analytical perspective, but, you know. No, Jesse's Mask. So, Outer Worlds. I'm trying to think how to respond to Colgrim. Give me a second here. I mean, mine does too, especially about games, Blue Off Alex. That's the reasons I like going back through them. I suppose I can't argue that it's unfair. I can't. It is functionally unfair that the Pixar block gets something like that. It's just that's how it's always been, so it didn't really occur to me to do it in any other way. I mean, nobody really complained when the MCU Phase 3 got in one block, even though that was actually extra work for me, because those were in addition to the regular movies I was doing. Nobody complained when I did the Disney block, or the MCU Phase 2 block, or the MCU Phase 1 block, or all 6 Lord of the Rings films, or all 13 Star Trek films. No one has ever complained before about lumping a block of movies together. And this time, people are, and I don't understand why it's an issue this time, whereas it wasn't last times. But by the same virtue, it certainly could have been an issue the previous times as well. Because as you say, you have a demonstrable point. $7 million, Pika. Up to $7 million. We don't know the exact amount. I suppose that's true. None of those blocks exceeded 10 films. That is a valid point. I'd certainly got complaints about every single one of those on the YouTube comments, but that was from people who don't actually pay money to the show, so who cares? But, Well, let me see. Let me do some off the top of my head math. Let's weight this. Oh, it's not too daunting. That's not the issue. I want to cover the Pixar block. This is a preference on my part. The point is it needs to be more fair to you all. But if we weight the block, pull out a calculator here. I'm not dividing the block, sorry. Let's just chop that off right now. Okay, so that means that 77. Okay, so that means it would need to get That's just a scheduling thing, S.A. Ross. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd tell you what the next most voted for movie is, but obviously I don't want to give away that information. I suppose I should apologize. For real. Because it is selfish of me. And I'll admit that. I want to cover the Pixar films. I want to do a Pixar blog. And that's not necessarily what you want. So unintentionally, I'll admit, I have actually stacked the deck when it comes to making sure the Pixar block gets in. And that is my fault, because I wanted to do the Pixar blog. It's not like it's less work. So, if we waited it, the Pixar block wouldn't get in at all. I'll just summarize that really quick. Because, yeah, that wouldn't even... I had to double-check things, but that wouldn't even be... It would only be not the least voted for block, because some things received 0 votes. It would actually be the least voted for option that didn't that received any votes at all. If we wait it. If we add waiting to it. No, you're right, Javan. See, the thing is, I didn't want to do that because that sounded really selfish of me. Yes, it's just saying, I want to ruminate on this and be done with it. It's the same reason I don't just pick things to stream, even though there's plenty of stuff I would love to stream right now. Random news. Outer Worlds got an expansion. Is getting an expansion. It's coming out in June, I think? Something like that. April, sorry. Sometime around April. It's getting a new expansion, which will hopefully not suck like Perils and Gorgon did, or Peril and Gorgon did, because Peril and Gorgon was bad. I think we didn't give a single positive for Peril and Gorgon. I could be wrong about that. We did actually review that when we were reviewing Outer Worlds. Kingdom Hearts is on the Epic Store. Yay. I mean, obviously I'm very anti-Epic, so that's just my opinion on that. But no judgment if you happen to be pro-Epic. You know, I don't care. So, for anybody who wants to play Kingdom Hearts on PC on Epic, woo! For everyone else, well, we'll see. And that really is a we'll see, because this news just broke, so we don't have a lot of specific details, except for one detail. This is the weird one for me. Hang on, I actually have a link here. And that's the pricing. Now, on the one hand, this makes sense, because, after all, if actual work was put into an actual good port, then it deserves the price. But on the other hand, they're selling these games for $60 each. Excuse me, $50, then $60, $60, $60. And that's almost a little confusing. For those of you not aware, you can buy that stuff for like $30 new right now. Never mind getting stuff used. So the bundles are, it's 1.5 and 2.5 Remix, which is $50. 2.8 and Final Chapter Prologue, which is $60. 3 Remind, which is $60, and Melody of Memory, which is $60. Really confusing pricing, if I might be so bold. Again, I do understand that an actual proper port does cost time and money, so maybe that's justified. But that's an interesting thing to walk into that, is to immediately sell it for more than you could buy it on other platforms for. New. I don't know what they're thinking on that one. So I have no idea what to make of that one. That's... Your guess is as good as mine. It legitimately would not surprise me if there was an announcement later. Oh yeah, sorry, that was a mistake. It's actually $30. And they just are backtracking, you know? Because I have no idea what the hell they're thinking about that one. We got a release date for Ratchet Clank 2. Rift something something, which is a game I'm actually looking forward to. That's coming out June 11th. Woo! Tales from the Borderlands is getting released on digital stores again, which is actually a pretty good thing. Not just the fact that that's my personal favorite Telltale game ever. But also the fact that those games are starting to get released on, in a manner in which you can buy them again for just for general enjoyment's sake, but also for, preservation of history's sake. It's nice to have these games once again be digitally procurable. So that's actually it for random news. There's one other little tidbit, though. For anybody who've checked the website, you may or may not have noticed that we will be restreaming the opening ceremony for BlizzCon this coming Friday. That'll be happening at, I believe, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, I'm right about that. And that's awesome. I just wanted to talk about that briefly. For those of you not aware, the upcoming BlizzCon is purely digital. It's actually called BlizzCon Online. And it is, for the first time ever, completely free. You can just watch the whole thing, and everything's free, yada yada yada. As a consequence of that, we could restream the whole thing. We're not going to. But, if anybody is interested in following BlizzCon for the first time, again, ever, you can just watch the whole thing. You do not have to pay for it. Yes, I have, Dr. Winter. And, woo, I will have to admit that I wasn't going to cover it at first because, honestly, who cares at this point? But at the same time, it will be interesting to cover it, and I usually make a point of covering, E3s, for example. So in the same general gaming news interest, we're going to go ahead and, like I said, rewatch the opening ceremony. We're going to restream it here. It's going to be a little over an hour and 10 minutes, supposedly. I have no idea what to expect about it, to be completely blunt. They have stated that they're going to cover WoW, Hearthstone, and Diablo, and Overwatch stuff, specifically. I don't really have my hopes up, to be completely blunt. If nothing else, we could at least make fun of them, like we do every E3. I don't know. But because of the unusual time in which that's happening, what's going to happen is, assuming we are still playing DOS 2 Friday, which I am assuming, we will go ahead and just chop off DOS 2 a little bit early at like 4:40, 450, somewhere around there. And then we will shuffle over to the restream. Just kind of chop off the local recording, start a new local recording, and shuffle over to the restream side. And we'll see. Oh yeah, and CD Projekt Red got hacked. Sorry, I actually did mean to comment on that. It's actually right here in my list. So I suppose I'll talk about the CD Projekt Red hack, although there's, believe it or not actually all that much to talk about. This is an interesting situation. So these kind of hacks are not infrequent. I don't know if you're aware of that. This is ransomware. This is a few people who run scripts and bots to try and brute force their way into companies in order to steal information, try to ransom them for the information. Invariably, the companies do not pay the ransom, and then they go and try and auction it off on the dark web, and some people buy it or some people don't, and that's kind of the end of it. Occasionally they're caught, sometimes they're not. I don't want to sound flippant. That's not the impression here. The point is, the only reason this situation is unique is because CD Projekt Red went nice and public about this. Which probably was deliberate on CD Projekt Red's part, because that's exactly what I would do too. In other words, showcasing the idea that, oh my gosh, we got Hacksorted, but don't worry, we're not giving in. It's grabbing PR. It's trying to grab some PR on this one. Not that I blame them. Again, I would do the exact same thing in their perspective. But it also kind of completely deflates any possibility of the intendant group actually grabbing any significant gains from it, other than financial. Now, obviously, they can go ahead and grab some financial gains out of us, and by all reports, although it's hard to get concrete information about stuff that goes on in this particular circle of society. However, by all reports, they have actually successfully sold the thing from anywhere from $1 to $7 million, depending on how exactly that went. But the auction has been concluded, we can pretty much definitively say that. I will also say there's one other substantial benefit to CD Projekt Red going so loud about this, because it's a little easier to garner attention and thus garner police operations in order to try and get someone to actually catch these people. They will probably still fail, which is a damn shame, because there's actually really good, how do I put this, cyber police that exist in the world. So I'm not sure what they're on about, but the cyber police tend to operate in like a different dimension from the actual police, which is irritating to me. I'm dead serious. If you let me try and explain that a little bit. I don't know if this is true in other countries, but if a cybercrime happened to you and you go to the physical police to report it, the physical police most of the time will not know what you're talking about. In some cases, this is not an exaggeration, they will decline to actually take a report of the crime that has been committed against you because they don't agree that it's a crime. Now, the actual cyber police, people whose entire job it is to track things like fraudulent stuff or, hackers or thieves or ransomware or any of this kind of stuff, they're good at their job. And they, generally speaking, if the reins are loosed, they will, generally speaking, catch people. The question is whether the actual criminal prosecutors will do their job and actually follow through on that. And that is an ongoing problem that's been going on for the better part of 20 years now. Either way, bleh. To be clear, by the way, I'm not cool with this kind of thing happening in general. Regardless of whether it's to CD Projekt Red or EA or Ubisoft, that's not cool. But, again, this will probably lead to nothing, which is why it's barely even a news tidbit. Moving on. Is that it? Look at my notes. Oh yeah, what happened with Ubisoft? Sorry, I don't have a note about Ubisoft. Meanwhile, half the country I live in is getting hit with a winter storm of doom. I believe it's actually a record setter. No, it is not, CyberXL. Getting down to 7 degrees around here. Look at this. As I've already mentioned, there's been snow in Vegas. I don't know what else to say about that. There's been snow in Vegas. Alright, so Hazardous is typing too slowly, so let's just Google it. Ubisoft. What'd they do? I mean, they're making more content for The Division 2? Is that it? I actually knew about that, I just didn't think it was worth commenting on. The only reason I know that is because my friends and I have played and will play Division 2. Hang on. 7 degrees is negative 13 Celsius, for those of you wondering. I don't even know what this game is. Immortals Phoenix Rising. I've never even heard of this game. What is this? It's apparently on Epic Store. That's on a lot of stuff. It's on Stadia! Woohoo! Is this out? Oh yeah, this apparently came out last December. Huh. Anyways. Sorry, we're at rambling mode, which is my mental check to go ahead and chop off Loreweek. So I'm going to go ahead and chop off Loreweek.